Good morning. Welcome to Getting to After. My name is Chatone Morrison. I am the Princess of Positivity, and you have just arrived at a place for midlife women where we are all about calming your nervous system and helping you to release the things you absolutely do not need. Now, you're going to notice that I'm here by myself, but don't worry, don't worry. The content's still great. Let's get into it. So yeah, typically I'm here with Morgan Bustos. She's my co-host, but unfortunately sometimes schedules just do not work. And so we weren't able to tape together this week, but we are all about making sure that you get a great episode. And this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time, which are thin energetic boundaries. Now, if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, maybe it's never happened to you, or maybe it's been happening to you all along and you haven't known what it is. I'm going to help you name it today. I'm going to help you feel really good about claiming it today. And we're going to also learn a little bit about how to release it and how you can keep moving on in life without life beating you down. Now, one of the things that we know for sure about energetic boundaries is that we all have them. Some of them are more loose, some are bigger, some are thinner. I'm a highly sensitive person, and you might be too. That means that you walk into a room and you know what everyone is thinking. You know if people have been talking about you. You know what I'm talking about? We have that. We have that energy around us where we're not really sure why it happens. But when it is you, what ends up happening is people's stuff stick to you. You just feel like, a billboard, or, when you're going to New York and they put up a lot of posters, that may feel like you because you're actually absorbing what other people have going on. That means you have thin energetic boundaries. It doesn't mean anything bad. It's not a castigation. There's no diagnosis for it. But what it means is that oftentimes you feel a lot. You overfeel. You feel other people's joy, their grief, their tension, their hostility. This may happen to your worker in a meeting, and you know what everyone's kind of thinking, or you know what they're feeling, and you start to kind of absorb that. It could be that you're a highly sensitive person. We're going to be talking about more of that in 2026 because guess what? I am a highly sensitive person, and instead of it feeling like an indictment, it really was powerful once I found out what that was because I've been dealing with it and not knowing what it was. The reason why I wanted to talk about it today was because I had an opportunity this weekend to go to a really great, very powerful, small, but really powerful entrepreneurs workshop called Elevate right in Baltimore, right in my backyard. And a couple of the presenters were people that I knew. Some I've only ever met on, Facebook. And so it was really nice to put faces with names and energy with names, etc. But there were lots of people in a really small space. And by the end of the couple of hours I was there, I started getting super, super tired. I was giving off a lot of my energy, a lot of my ideas. A lot of people were coming up with strategic issues they were having, and we were putting them all out on the table. We're kind of, brainstorming as a group. And it was powerful and it was great. Everyone was kind of elevating as an entrepreneur. And then I started looking at myself and saying, whoa, can you drive home? Are you able to, can you go home before the snow? Are you going to be able to make it home? Because I got very, very tired very, very quickly. I was absorbing a lot of people's ideas. I was absorbing their fears. I was listening to them at a soul level, and my boundaries, which are typically a little bit thin if I'm not paying attention, started to be crossed. People started leaping over my boundaries. And how this shows up is that for me, I get very, very tired. Now, I'm going to digress for a second because, I recently came back from Asia. My husband and I took this big whirlwind trip for 22 days. And I got to tell you something, that some of the places where we were, it was all about fun. The safari is all about fun. We went on the billet train in Japan. But there were times when there was so many people, I didn't even know them. But I started to absorb it, and I had to remember, oh no, Ishton, put your boundaries up. I have to do that for myself. I have to think about it and make sure that I do it. And maybe you do too. And I'm going to help you to do that today. There's no particular strategy that you have to follow, but some of these work for me after doing a lot of somatic work, of course, EFT work, and my oils. You got to have your oils. I forgot them when I went to this workshop this weekend. And it makes a difference. It helps my boundaries to be just a little bit thicker so that I'm able to kind of maintain who I am through any situation. And I don't mean every situation, but most situations. So, how it shows up for you, or how may be showing up for you, especially in midlife, if you may find yourself walking into a gathering and instantly feeling tension. Everyone's smiling, but you feel tension. What does that mean? Right? You feel it. You feel it. You might leave work, or maybe you have a ministry or your family time, and you just feel absolutely exhausted. In fact, while we talk about this, I'm gonna put a little oil on. You may feel absolutely exhausted. If you missed our episode last week, we are talking about how to use oils in these situations. This one has already been cut with a little bit of carrier oil. This is lavender, and this is one of the great oils that you can use when you're in these situations, because it's going to calm you down. Immediately, as soon as I put this on, I start to kind of feel it. Up and down my arms, I feel a little bit of like, almost like, kind of like that. I don't know if that has a word, but it feels so good. And if you're finding yourself today on a Tuesday morning with lots of stresses or tension, or you're feeling other people's energy, you may want to try making sure you have an oil. If it's too sensitive for you to put on your hands, you can just wave it under your nose. And we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go forward. So another way that this may show up for you is when someone is pretending to be okay. This one is, I think, one of the ones that moms, especially, that we struggle with the most, when people are pretending to be okay, especially our children. Sometimes our husbands, spouses, you may feel like you know good and well that what they're saying isn't true. It's not so much that they're lying, but they may be trying to protect you. They may be trying to protect someone else. And like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And sometimes that word fine, unless it's talking about a good looking person, is one of the worst words. It's one of the worst words, because it's not true. You're not fine. In fact, Morgan and I have a episode coming up soon that talks about what happens when you feel off. When you feel off and you want to feel back on. Make sure that you stay tuned. We're here every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss an episode. But just in case you miss us in a premiere, we're always here. It's always here on our library on YouTube and Spotify. One more may be where you are reading a message from someone and you notice that your whole body relaxes. You haven't done anything physically. Your whole body just relaxes. It works negative and positive. It works negative and positive. Based on someone else, you may feel yourself, oh, I can take a deep breath around that person. I have a coach like that. All I have to do is hear her say one or two words, and immediately my nervous system's like, oh, thank you, girl. Thank you. Thank you. Because of their calm, I calm down. And I really hope for you that you have people in your life like that. I hope that when you walk into your home, you feel that, but sometimes we don't. And it doesn't mean you're in an abusive situation. It just means that the other people you may live with, cohabit with, they may be super tense, and then you feel yourself absorbing that. Before we even talk about anything else, it's really important that you realize that you're not crazy, you're not broken, you're not weak, you're not making it up. And are you really too sensitive? Because people like to say that about us, those of us who feel a lot. And if you're a high creative, especially if you're an entrepreneur, many times if you're in midlife, you do feel a lot. It's not too much. You've been feeling for a super long time. You've been giving to others for a long time. Of course, you're going to feel. It's a part of being human. And I personally believe that as a woman who's at the outer edge of midlife, you have taken care of enough people. You've seen enough things. You've had enough experiences where feeling sometimes a little bit too much becomes normal. When you're a highly sensitive person, it's a little bit worse, but you are not too sensitive. First of all, we're alive. Being sensitive is normal. You feel, okay, you feel that, right? If I tap my leg, you can't even see my leg, but you can hear that, and you can just kind of imagine what that feels like. We are meant to be sensitive. Too sensitive is someone else's indictment on you. That's someone else's way of metabolizing who you are. And maybe you've decided to take that into yourself. And now you're at this level, you think, I think I'm too sensitive. Everyone feels that way about me. It doesn't mean that they are right. You have a nervous system. It's finely tuned. And believe it or not, it's a blessing. But without understanding it, it can feel like a burden. And many times mine has, especially before I understood all of this information. Like, why do I feel everything? Why do I know stuff? And it can feel annoying. The world will teach you, you got to toughen up. You got to let things go. And even though I sometimes use a language of let things go, it's around work. It's around a modality. It's around release. It's not just let that go, girl, because that's not fair. And that doesn't help you. Your system will never be able to let go of something it hasn't processed. Now, for a second, just process that. Words alone will never allow you to process through feeling. They just don't, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you're making stew or soup, and you haven't allowed it enough time on the stove to thicken, it's not going to thicken. And if it's too thick, it cannot get thinner without you adding something to it. Do you feel me? Do you feel me? So even though you're like, I'm just going to let this go. If you haven't processed it, no, you're not. It's going to get buried deeper. And that's why modalities like EFT, those kind of healing practices, helpful practices, supportive practices are so powerful, especially for people like us. So again, if you find this sounds like you, just keep listening, keep watching, and bookmark this episode, because I'm going to show you a little bit how you can move gently out of other people's energy and back into your body. So here's 3 easy, I wouldn't say easy, but I would say kind of simple ways to walk through the world without getting drained. And if you don't know what I mean again by getting drained, it's that idea of I'm here with you, but I'm feeling too much and I want to escape. Sometimes what happens is a person will go to sleep. They're absorbing a lot. They're taking on too much, and suddenly they're just tired. I have to go to sleep. It took me so long to know that I wasn't like a weirdo. I really felt something was wrong with me. I would be going through these little situations and just get exhausted. I wasn't running. I wasn't doing anything. I hadn't worked all day. It was my boundaries were thin without me recognizing I need to prepare myself for certain situations, for being around masses of people, thousands of people at a time. For me, that's a lot for me. So I have to prepare myself. I have to be ready for that. And once I understood that, so much better. So the first thing is to name it without shame. And that's tough because the people around you, I mean, even if you're listening to this podcast, people may say, what in the world is she talking about? Because it's not them. So this may not be for them. It's for you. And it's for you if you have a friend like this, a daughter, a mom, a son, so that you can help them to prepare. Now, in midlife, you may have everything from, I don't know, a toddler to a teenager to a young adult that's married. We have all the gamuts now, right? Because we know how to have children when we want to have children. So you may have all the gamuts, or you may be perimenopausal, menopausal, or even an empty nester. We range. What happens is you may have been feeling this a long time. Name it without shame. Say it out loud to yourself. I'm sensitive. I process things deeply. That's how I was made. I won't apologize for it. Just saying that is not really an affirmation, but I'm sensitive. Allowing yourself to be sensitive, allowing yourself to feel good about it. I'm sensitive. I process things deeply. It's how I was made, and I won't apologize for it. I don't need to apologize for it. Just allowing yourself room to do that, so powerful. So powerful. In the winter magazine of Getting to After, we talk a lot about the need to retreat. During that retreat time, more than just little snippets of self-care, but like during that retreat time, when you're spending time alone, reminding yourself that it's okay that I'm who I am. This is who I am, and it's okay. I don't need to apologize for feeling deeply. I just need to know, how can I take care of myself through it? The second thing is to be very proactive about protecting your peace. Proactive. So as I mentioned before, having oils, doing something for yourself beforehand, knowing that, this is gonna get me, right? And being aware of it. So one of the things you can do is prepare yourself before going into high energy spaces, or before you know you're going to be with like people that are not that good for your nervous system. Let's play this out, what this might look like at work. So maybe you have a boss that hasn't yet, I won't even say boss, but you have a boss. It's not just a manager, it's not a VP, it's a boss because of the way that they behave. And I don't mean boss in the positive way. They want to boss other people around. They want to assert their authority all over you. They don't care if you're going to the bathroom or you're going to get coffee or you're doing the report and you're doing it on time. They want to be over top of you. That is going to trample on that would trample on anybody's boundaries, but it's going to be hard for you. You're going to read into that. You're going to wonder what they meant. You're going to look at every facial expression. You're going to notice a crinkle between here, notice a crinkle between here, and you see their teeth, and their teeth are gritting like that, and you're going to feel all that. So one of the ways to do that is to go into that space with that person. This is kind of a negative energy, and prepare yourself. This is who they are. It has nothing to do with me. I prepare myself by going into this space, knowing that this is who they are. They are that way with everyone, and it's not about me. I am fine. I am good. I'm going to this space prepared. It could be small little affirmational statements, but to me, which are like, I am statements. I am fine. I am good. I trust myself. But I prefer to have these statements really be about the other person, because you want to create some distance between yourself and them. And that's what this does for you. Other thing is, you can ground before you go into the room. Now, if you've been following Morgan and myself for any length of time, you know we love a good grounding. So I'm not going to give you one right here, but one of the ways to ground, and if you're at work, it may be a little bit tricky, but before you go into a room, you may not be able to take off your shoes unless they're simple. If you have simple pumps on or something, you may be able to slip your feet out of your shoes and put them flat on the floor. Okay, away from, say, any of your electronic wires or anything, just a little bit away from that. Or you can do it in another space. If you work from home, you may want to walk outside. If you can have a difficult phone call or something like that, or if you deal with a difficult vendor, or even someone coming into your home to fix something and they do a good job, but they're antsy for you, put your feet flat on the floor. Breathe very deeply. And when we do our deep breaths, what we want to do is we want to breathe in, say 4 count, hold for 2 or hold for 4, and breathe out for 4. So that's box, but you can breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 4. You can do that kind of breathing, or you can do a breathing that I love, which is like breathing in for 6, holding for 4, breathing out for 6. Sometimes what happens is you just need to allow yourself to just come down a little bit before you even get into the situation. That way you go in more grounded. If you think about the word grounded, we're not talking about tapping or, anything that has to do with the body. When you say, oh, she's a really grounded person, he's really grounded. It just means that he's settled. It means that she's settled. It means that she's calm. It means that she's level-headed. She knows what's going on. She's balanced. So sometimes that will work for you. You need to go into the situation balanced, protected, knowing that you're worthy, knowing that it may be them and not you. And one of the things you can also do is you can imagine a protective barrier. I learned this from one of my coaches, literally imagining yourself having a protective barrier between yourself and whatever else is going on out there. It's not a wall, but a screen. So a wall would say, I've built this up, and now I'm barreled in here. It's me, and it's them. This is going to be more like a screen. I love this analogy. It's more of a screen. You can see out. They may be able to see in, but not as clearly as you can see out. The goal is to protect yourself from their energy. It's invisible. It's not real. It's really in your mind. It's letting you know that I'm okay to stand where I'm standing. And it's so, I want to say powerful, but I think the biggest thing is that it works. It works. It almost doesn't feel like it shouldn't work, but it does. Again, these are all small ways to get yourself prepared. Now, after, as a person with thin energetic boundaries where stuff is kind of sticking to you, right? Sticking to you. One of the things you want to make sure you do is close the loop after you've been exposed. And this is one of the ones that we forget the most. And that's why as midlife women, sometimes we come home and our kids are like, what's wrong with you? Or your husband's like, what happened with your day? And you say, nothing, nothing. But you don't even realize that you've been exposed. You've dealt with something and now it's kind of coming out of your pores. It's just coming out. You don't even know it's coming out. It's exuding, girlfriend. And so one of the ways that you deal with that is to close the loop after exposure. So let's talk about how that looks. So let's say whether you have ministry, you're at a family gathering, draining moments, whatever it is, you need to kind of discharge the emotional residue. Discharge. You need to let it go. And when I say let it go, I mean you need to like get it off you. You understand? So sometimes we'll actually show you that when we're doing tapping, we're done, and you actually see us doing this. Right? And if you can do it with your actual hand on your skin, it's a little chilly here, so I'm not doing that. But you actually just practice getting it off you. What this does is it actually reminds your body, I'm here, kind of mimics a hug, and allows you to discharge the emotional residue from someone who might have been unhealthy for your nervous system. The other thing, of course, is EFT, which we're going to do a little bit in a moment. That's something. Depending on how long you've been with these people, you could take a shower. Can't do that in the middle of the workday unless you work from home. There have been times where I had to take a bath in the middle of my workday, especially when I was also battling an illness and then trying to work and then dealing with people that were difficult. Many of them lived overseas. And so their culture and the way that they talked to each other was very different from the way that we deal with each other here. And it just used to stick to me. I learned how to take micro baths. I would run that water for not 5 minutes, but hot, 5, 6 minutes, and jump in the tub for just a short minute, like a period of time that was 5 minute, a 5 minute bath. And for me, a 5 minute bath was actually easier than taking a shower. I don't know why, but I would just sit in that tub for a short period of time. Micro, it's not a bubble bath. This was not one where you're sitting with candles lit and watching TV. Now, if you can do that in the middle of your day, I promise you, you will get that emotional residue off of you. But I used to take little micro baths. If you can't do that, step into silence. Another thing that I used to do in between, say, conference calls when I was working from home at a corporation or for a corporation, and I think I've mentioned this before, I'll go outside and lay on my driveway. Now, I know my neighbors thought I was weird. Look, you can't care what people think. I'll lay on my driveway. Sometimes I put a big blanket out there. I had a long driveway, not that long actually. I mean, my neighbors could see me across the street. I put a like a blanket out, and it had to be warm enough for this, for me, maybe 50 and above. But I would put like a blanket out, and I would just lay outside for about like on the ground. Talk about grounding, maybe 5 minutes, and then I roll that back up. Or sometimes I'd use a yoga mat, roll that back up, go back in the house, and get back on the phone. These were ways that I could kind of cap off the control that those things have for me. Now, if you don't have, or you don't, I could care less. You may not need these strategies, but maybe your daughter does. Maybe you notice after she comes back home from visiting with family, friends, etc., you notice something a little bit off, or maybe you have a teenager that works and you notice when they come home, they've been exposed in ways they're highly sensitive. You need to teach them how to discharge other people's emotions that are kind of sticking to them. And another thing you can do, of course, is you can journal. I like doing that sometimes in the midst of what's going on. So I have lots of doodling, right? Sometimes I'll have 10 markers out. I used to do that during corporate and big meetings. And they looked at me like I didn't care. This is how I was able to stay present without all of it being all over me. And the other thing you could do is you could just create a calming script, or you can go on our website, gettingtoafter.com, and you can just get any of the languaging we have there. We have love notes out there. We have so many podcasts that you can watch. You can take little tiny pieces of different scripts we've done. Just listen. You can get any of our magazines we have, the Getting to After magazine, and you could just read a page, or you could do one of our breathing exercises. We have such great breathing exercises that Morgan's done. You see what I'm saying? You have to do something. And the goal is just close the loop. I've been exposed. Okay, now I got to take care of myself. And you do that, and you can regulate yourself by doing it. All of it counts. All of it matters. And then when you come out of these situations, you feel good, because that's what we want. All right. So now that you know you're highly sensitive, but you're not too sensitive, you know that it's probably them and not you. You need to make barriers and create walls and screens so that you're able to maintain feeling positive and good for yourself. You know when to release, Now we're going to get into one of the practical ways of how to release them. So we're going to do a little bit of EFT right now. I hope you're game. I hope you're game. If you've not tapped with us before, this will be a great one for you to do. This is going to be like a mini tapping session. I love this one because this is something that you can do easily. Yes, you can do it at work when no one's watching. You can, or you can do it right at the table, right? We start the setup phrase here on the side of the hand, and you don't have to tap like this if you're with other people, although I don't mind. You can tap, or you can just kind of rub the point, right? So I'm going to run through the points really quickly so you know what they are. These are energetic meridian points that are inside the body. Think acupressure for your emotions. So we're going to be doing a little acupuncture with no needles. And so the points are going to be the side of the hand. That's where we start the setup phrase. This is kind of a neutralizing point. This is the point where you're going to hear me say something kind of negative and then also positive, right? And you'll get it once I start. We have the eyebrow point here, the side of the eye point here. Let me take my glasses off so you can see them. The eyebrow point here. The side of the eye point is right here, underneath the eye, underneath the nose, the chin point, which is really underneath the mouth. Then you have this point here, which is the collarbone. So think right around here. In fact, if you were to rub that point right now with me, you'll feel it feels a little sensitive. It's a little sore spot right here. But you're going to just tap gently right there. And then there's a point right under your arm. It also can be a kind of a sore spot. I don't know if it's a sore spot for men too. I really work with just women. But if you were just think about where your bra strap is on the side and just kind of push that in a little bit, it could be a little sensitive right there. You got some lymph nodes and things there. You're going to tap that. If that's difficult because you have abundance in your chest, then you can do it on the side. Sometimes you'll see me do both because I want to mirror both ways. So sometimes you'll see me tapping like this on the side of the arm. And sometimes you'll see me doing it over here. Right? I just want to mirror both for you. And then, of course, there's top of head. All right. So those are the points we're going to go through today. And we're going to do this tapping transformation where we are working on releasing in a kind way for your body so that if people are sticking to you, this is how you get it off you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start right here on the karate chop point. And if this is you, maybe you've just gone through a situation like this today when you were watching this. Maybe you're watching the premiere and you were dealing with someone over the weekend or someone last night and you're thinking, yeah, they're kind of still with me. All right. So you're just going to start tapping on the side of your hand. And you can repeat after me. You can do it out loud. You can do it under your breath. You can do it in your mind, or you can just watch. You will get benefits no matter how you do it. And remember that you may start really tense when you're doing this. And you may start to feel a discharge from your body. You may start to feel the energy leaving. And that may be in many different ways. We love to hear what it looks like for you. Don't worry about any of it. It's not too much. It's just enough. Even though I absorb so much from the people and places around me, I deeply honor the way I was created. Even though I sometimes feel overwhelmed just by showing up around people, today in this moment, I decide to give myself grace. And even though I carry more than others can see, I choose to lighten my load. Just for this moment. Now stop tapping gently. What I want you to do is take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Do that again. Breathe in through the nose. Hold. Out through your mouth. And we're going to start tapping on these points. Eyebrow. I feel so much. Side of eye. Sometimes it's too much. Under eye. I've been taking on energy that isn't mine. Under nose, and I forget to let it go. Chin. My body knows the truth, even though my body can't tell me. Collarbone. I feel weak sometimes. Underarm. I give myself permission to feel it and release it. Top of head. I don't have to carry everything I sense. I can let it go. Breathe in and out. Let's do another round here. Brow. I claim my peace. Side of eye. I don't need to absorb everything. What I've absorbed, I can let go. Under eye. I am present and protected. Under nose. I honor my capacity to feel, and I also honor my boundaries. Chin. I deserve softness after noise. Collarbone. I create space for restoration. Underarm. I choose to close the loop energetically. Top of head. I come back to myself gently. I love that one. Let's do a few affirmations because that will help us to kind of anchor this in. My brow point, I am sensitive and strong. Make sure you breathe in while you're doing this. Little gentle breaths. They don't have to be so deep, but just breathe that in and exhale. Let's do it one more time. I am sensitive and strong. Side of eye. I walk with wisdom. Under eye. I am made wonderfully on purpose. Under nose. I'm allowed to protect my peace. Chin. I choose restoration, not overload. Collarbone. I release what's not mine to carry. Underarm. I am safe to come home to myself. Top of head. I am sensitive. I am whole. I am enough. Okay, so gently stop tapping. If you had used an oil before this, I would love for you to take your hands, kind of cup them together and kind of put them over your nose and mouth and breathe in real deep. And exhale. You may want to do that a couple of times. I think I left that one out, but that's a really good one to do too. Just put a little oil in your hand with a carrier oil, and you can cup your hands together like this over your nose and mouth and do a nice breath like that and let that out. Really, really good for release. I hope that you enjoyed that tapping. I love that one. I wish that Morgan was with me today. She would love that particular tapping that we had today. And I'm sure she's going to be doing it during the premiere while she watches along. Listen, I want you to know that if this really spoke to your soul, if this is you, you're not alone. There's a whole world of highly sensitive people out there just don't know what it is, or maybe they've labeled you with other diagnoses, or maybe they think that you're weird, or why do you feel things? You know what? You're good enough as you are, and don't forget it. Many times you're just learning to navigate this loud world, this world with all these things going on, and you're learning to navigate that. And so you've been given a diagnosis, but it may not be a diagnosis. It's just the way that your nervous system works. And once you know what that is, you know how to navigate better. Think about trying to get someplace busy or someplace very difficult without a map. Knowing how to handle this, how to walk into situations, how to walk out of them and close the loop really helps a lot. Now, in getting to after.com on our website, you'll see ways of working with Morgan and myself. There's a midlife tapping circle. There's, of course, our magazine, which helps us to help women in situations of domestic violence. And we'd love for you to always get our magazine as well, because all those contributions help us. If you just want to make a contribution, you can also do that on our website at gettingtoafter.com. We are all about midlife women. We are all about making sure that you're not alone. You can come right here every Tuesday. We're going to settle that nervous system down. That is our goal. That's our reach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. If you know this episode was for someone you love, let them know. You're allowed to feel, and so are they. You're allowed to protect your energy, and so are they. You are more than enough right now. And if you want to do even bigger things in 2026, you can do that at your own pace, knowing you don't have to take on everybody else's energy, and knowing that you're meant to last. So we can't wait to see you next time. But until we do, remember, I am the Princess of Positivity. I'm Chatone Morrison. I believe that you can release your negativity so your positivity can reign in your brain, in your business, and your big, beautiful life. And until I see you next time, don't forget, be authentic, be brilliant, be the catalyst, and go ahead and get to after, because you deserve it. I'll see you soon. Take care. Mwah.